My name is Michael Mastro, and I'm with Transformation Vedic Astrology. And today we're going to look at the chart for Prince Andrew, who's been in the news a little bit lately. Um, if we look to the eastern horizon when he was born, you see the constellation associated with Cancer in the first house. So Cancer rising sign at 18 degrees becomes the most effective point of every house. Any planet within 5 degrees in the natal chart or by transit has a lot of impact. So this becomes a very important rising sign degree for every house. And then we want to see how the planets are operating and when they are operating, because not everything happens all at once, and then what we could do to strengthen the chart, to fix the chart and improve Prince Andrew's life. So we know that any of the Multicones signs, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11, that fall in the 6th, the 8th, or the 12th house, they become functional malefics, and they can cause harm at some point in his life, along with Rahu and K2. So we see Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter in this 6th house, and we have Saturn ruled by Aquarius ruled by Saturn in the 8th house. So they become functional malefics. All the rest are benefic planets, except for Rahu and K2. Now we know each of these houses has something to do with some aspect of Prince Andrew's life. And wherever we see the Multicorna signs, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11, they are what he came to work on in this life. So he came to work on wealth and recognition and continuation of the marital bond, business and communications, harmony or happiness in the family and property, conflicts and health and debts and divorce and litigation. Came to work on research and vulnerability in relationships, obstacles, career. So all of those things are, and as along with name and fame and finding his life purpose. So let's just go through the planets and see how they're operating. Sun is at 6 degrees. It's in the 8th house, and it's ruling the house of wealth and fame and recognition and continuation of the marital bond. So this gives wealth and fame through inheritance. This is also the house of inheritance, and it can be vulnerable. There can be secret relationships and secret business dealings, and some of his property in foreign lands was in dispute with the government. Then Moon is at 2 degrees. Any planet that's less than 5 or more than 25 becomes weak, and so it is ruling the house of life purpose and longevity and health, and it's placed in the house of children and investments and education. So he did not have education beyond, I think, second level education. He had daughters, so Moon is feminine. So Moon being here would give a feminine influence to his progeny. And then let's see here. Basically connects him with children education and investments. It's afflicted by K2. So Moon is also peace of mind. So, issues with peace of mind. Mars is at 4 degrees. It's ruling the house of career in the house of partnerships and foreign lands. So connects career with property in foreign lands and partnerships. And the military. Part of his career was in the military and also trading arms, weapons, to dictators and governments that got him into trouble. in his job, which we'll talk about in a minute or two. Let's see here. Now that's afflicted by Rahu, so can cause unexpected events. Mercury's at 23 degrees, and it is ruling the house of business and communication, entrepreneurial success, and it's placed in, again, this eighth house. So communications can be vulnerable. It can cause disagreements and divorce. And he was supportive of startup companies. He had some secret relationships. So, yeah, a lot of buy-selling trade with other companies. In fact, he was a trade envoy for Britain for many years. He had a lot of contacts. He could line his contacts with people who needed money for startups and for people who were dealing in arms and dictators around the world, along with Jeffrey Epstein, connected with relationships with young women. Jupiter's at 5 degrees, and it is one of the functional malefics, but it's in its own sign, so it cannot afflict its own house, but it can afflict other houses. So Jupiter here gives ability to teach. He was a helicopter pilot, and it helps him manage his debts and disputes, divorce, health issues. Gives some ability to help him manage those things because of its strength in its own sign. Venus is at 5 degrees. Now, Venus is conjunct Mars in his 7th house of partnerships. Venus is wife. So that can give some issues with relationships. And again, it is afflicted by Rahu, unexpected events, and let's see here. Property away from place of birth. I think he had property in Kazakhstan. And let's see here. Interesting that his partnership with Epstein. So Fergie, his wife, had a lot of property debt, and Epstein helped her pay that off. Saturn's at 21 degrees, close to the most effective point. It is functional malefic, ruling this house of death-like experiences and vulnerability, issues in relationships. It is placed in the house of conflict, so it brings obstacles and conflict into relationship, as well as divorce and litigation. He gets a big stipend from Britain every year due to his inheritance, and part of doing that, you have to do a lot of service work. Fight for Sight, many service organizations which are helping him with these functional malefic planets, Rahu and K2. So they're at 1 degree. So Rahu gives independence, entrepreneurial ventures. He again supported a lot of startups, desired to do trade. He was involved in trade. And then you have K2, which is kind of rejecting the norms of society, the rules. And so let's look at the timing of events. So he got a divorce. Well, first he had a daughter in 1988. That was during a Venus period. Venus is feminine, so gives daughter. Venus, I think, was transiting the 5th house of children. Then in 96, he got a divorce. So that was during a Saturn period. Here we can see unexpected death-like experiences, endings, litigation, all that. This is also the house of relationship issues. And then he lost his rank as the trade envoy. He lost his position in July of 2011. That was during a Mars K2 let's see, Mars K2 period. Let's see, Venus Mars period. So Venus was his very best planet, and so it was actually transiting the 12th house, so it lost its power. And then if you look at the transit chart during that period, you'll see that K2 was afflicting Mars. Mars is his career, so K2 caused unexpected events. You see K2 is right on top. So the inner circle is where the planets were when he was born, and the outer circles, the transiting planets, were at the time of this event when he lost his rank, his job, his, you know, um, so, and also it affected his income. So there's the house of income. So then in 2019, he was accused of sexual abuse by one of Epstein's the women that he was trafficking, young children he was trafficking. So that was during a Saturn period. Again, death-like experiences, unexpected events, drama. And if we looked at that time period, 11, 16, 19. So if we go, you see a lot of planets here in the house of Saturn, which is, you know, the obstacles, in the house of conflicts and debts and disputes. You see all of that happening. You got Rahu and Moon over here causing a lot of issues as well. And K2 and Rahu are close to the most effective point. That means that they're afflicting 6 out of the 12 houses. So a lot of issues there. What can we do to strengthen this chart? So we want to transform Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and K2. And that you can always do with chants and charities. And he's doing a lot of charity work, but you know, charities for religious organizations for K2 and people who cannot help themselves. For Rahu, Jupiter's also religious organizations. And Saturn would be also people that cannot help themselves. So, and any kind of chants related to Shiva, Ganesh would be helpful. Then the rest of the planets like Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, all could be strengthened with gemstones or a kavash, which is a locket containing the Devata yantras for those planets that would strengthen it. So yeah, so those are the things that could be done to improve this chart. Also, wearing green, white, red, and avoiding dark blue, yellow, and gray and brown would be helpful. So those are the main things we could do to improve the chart. So if you're interested in a Vedic astrology, transformational Vedic astrology reading, you can see they're quite accurate. You can go to www.vastucreations.com. Under services, several different types of readings there. A yearly reading is the most popular. And if you would like to learn transformation Vedic astrology and become a certified astrologer, you can go to American Institute of Vastu.com. Thank you so much for listening. Again, Michael Mastro with Vastu Creations.